So, let's start off. History on the loose. What we're going to do, we're going to examine a twist on camping, if you will. For many, many decades now, since World War II, there has been a hobby known as buckskinning, fur trade reenactment, goes by several names. I started as a buckskinner close to 30 years ago, and then I went a little bit farther. As you go farther into your lifestyle and your hobby, you tend to move into maybe more challenging aspects. Buckskinning is kind of a starting way. You involve your family, and it's a very enjoyable lifestyle where you camp with other people at large gatherings called rendezvous, where you can trade and sell your wares, and you can compete in various skill levels of knife throwing, tomahawk throwing, shooting. Naturally, it revolves around black powder shooting. So that being said, it really focuses more on the Rocky Mountain fur trade era, which started in the early 1800s and stopped at 1840. The fur trade was fueled by the want for beaver. Beaver fur produces a very luxurious felt that was incorporated into men's hats of the day. Fashion was always for beaver fur. To this day, beaver fur still makes the best hat felt. So in 1840, the fashion changed with the advent of the silk top hat. So the bottom fell out of the beaver market. Well, that was lucky because the supply of beaver kind of was falling out too. It was getting trapped out in North America. So pretty much the North American fur trade era ended in 1840. What the hobby lifestyle, the parameters of it falls between the 1750s French and Indian War era all the way to 1840-ish. Farther east, people are more early style, 1750s, like I said, French Indian War, colonial era, revolutionary era, and all the way till the 1800 style era. Whereas farther west, it's more Rocky Mountain fur trade. There's different types of styles like that revolve around, say, the Southwest, the Taos, Santa Fe, New Mexico trade, California Mission trade. So it kind of runs the gamut of the different facets of what you're interested in the hobby. What we'll be dealing with is, I'll be going over subjects such as blankets, packs, what I carry in my pack, how I'll set up a camp, tentage, shelter. I'm not a big shelter guy. I know that shelter is a big thing for people. I've done this all across the western states, in every kind of weather, by horseback, by canoe, and I'm not big on carrying tents around with me, but those are for future episodes, those subjects. Right now, our first one, we'll just talk a little bit about what everybody likes and is interested in. We'll talk about knives. So the first ones I'll show you are the ones that I've been carrying on my person for, since I made them, the last 20 or so years. So the first one, this knife is patterned on a southern style fighting knife called the Natchez blade, with bone handles, bone slab handles made from a file. I made this probably close to 20 years ago, if not more so. The slab handles, the bone slab handles, I temporarily pegged them with square oak pegs, and they're still in there after 20 odd years. Tight as Dick's hat band, and I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's a very fun knife to carry. This one, I hammered this out of a drill bit designed for a lathe. The shank was a tapered shank to be slammed into the tailstock, and I heated and hammered the twist out of it. It took me all day to hammer that out. It was actually an Easter Sunday. So I hammered the twist out of it. I took the twist out of it, and it's been sharpened once. It got sharpened that day when I was done, and everything up until this moment has just been honing after that, just on a steel, taking the burrs off. It's very sharp, very hard steel, an amazing knife. I'm very, very proud of that knife. So over the years, this is one of my first ones I made. So this is probably close to 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. It's a little rusty. It was in my leaky shop, one of my leaky shops, and antler handle and a mower blade. Again, the design of it is a southern style. When you went into a saloon fight with a flintlock pistol in one hand and a knife in the other. So you can have fun with that. There's a lot of talk about styles of blades, styles of knives. I see a lot of YouTube videos about the Kephart style, the drop point blade, etc., etc. The period knives of the day, one of the sought-after blades was the Green River knife of the period. The actual historical period was the Green River knife. Much of these blades are Green Rivers. I got them all new. These are not historical artifacts by any means. These are all new, just well used. I like to bleach my handles on occasion because I do a lot of meat cutting, and that just keeps them a little more sanitary, so that's why the handles don't look as old as the blades do. But the most common blade configuration of the period was the butcher style, with the tip, as you see here, the curving tip. Butcher knives were very common and very sought after. You see it in reports and ledgers and journal entries about the butcher knife. You see two different styles here, two similar styles but two different sizes. For cutting meat, I have cut meat for close to 40 years professionally at different times of my life. I know how to break down every cow and squirrel and everything in between on the North American continent. So I know meat cutting, and I'll tell you that these blades have some attributes that are more attractive to meat cutting than others. Again, here's another Green River style, Green River Company, but with a pointed style, more the drop point. This is not a Green River blade. It's a knockoff blade that I think I won in a contest, and so I put it together. It was a kit knife, if I recall, and I did a little amateurish beading on there. Again, this is a very versatile style with the point. A good choice for an all-around knife. For an all-around knife, good choice. I think the butcher knife is better for meat cutting if you're into the hunting aspect of the sport. One style that I don't endorse as an all-around style is the buffalo skinner. This was more popular during the buffalo era of the later 1800s. I've used this. It works very good once you get under the skin to come up and split the hide initially. The sweeping scimitar style, I can't endorse for much more than cuts of meat for meat. I certainly don't encourage this for whittling or, you know, cutting your own food. It's just the design itself lends itself only to what it's designed for. And I can't endorse it as an everyday style blade. What it's designed for, it does very well. But, this blade, this was my first Green River blade that I took to my very first event when I first started. A lot of firsts there. As you can see, it's been sharpened many times. It's a great knife. All around, I find this style the most versatile. Straight handle, straight blade, with just the one curve to the point. It can get into places. I've broken down plenty of meat with this, plenty of animals. You can whittle with it. You can do just about anything you'd want your knife to do. I don't know about all this stuff that I see online about the modern campers doing batoning for splitting firewood. I don't understand batoning, hitting your blade to drive it to split wood. In the 30 years that I've been doing this, and the over 40 years that I've been outdoors and around fires, I've never found a need to do that. I just look for wood that I can break in half. If you need to split a piece of wood, just look for a narrower piece of wood. That's the way I look at it. I don't see a need to smack a knife blade around with a chunk of wood. So that's just me. I just look around for wood that suits my needs for burning. So as I said, I did a lot of the southwestern style, and I think that now I'd like to try more of an eastern style. So we're gonna put our Rocky Mountain hat on the back burner for a while. We're not gonna retire it. We're gonna put our tricorn on, and we're gonna start exploring the more eastern and earlier times with our camp, etc. Still love the Rocky Mountain Southwest era, but we're going to learn some new stuff. And you'll come along on the journey with me. Like I said, we'll talk about blankets and packs and how I camp. Again, it's not an endorsement and telling you this is how you should do it. It's just the way I do it. So try it at your own risk, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to ask each other some questions. We're going to tell each other some answers. We're going to offer some opinions. We'll talk about guns and stuff and just have a good time. So join us, and that's it. Keep your powder dry.